Welcome back, folks. This is the VHS Vault. I am VHS Jase. Next to me is Jason Roy Gaston. There he is in the flesh or on the screen, whatever. Jason, explain to me why you thought we should be watching the movie that we watched this week.
Well, my dear lad, you see, this episode of the VHS Vault is scheduled to air on St. Paddy's Day. And I thought, what else?
I missed the dates.
Sums up. Yeah, what else sums up the spirit of St. Paddy's Day more than Warwick Davis having the time of his life playing a diminutive supernatural killer? It's Leprechaun.
It certainly is.
You want my pot of gold? You cannot get my Lucky Charms.
Normally, I talk about when I first saw this as a kid, but I'd never seen this until literally an hour and 45 minutes ago. This is when I watched it. So I'd never seen it. And I will say, I'd always had the impression that this was very low rent. Like, you know, it looked cheap. It was, you know, certainly, yeah, I'd heard it was Jennifer Aniston's first film and all that kind of thing. But I will say, the quality of the production was a lot more than I expected. And the Leprechaun looked great.
He did. And okay, first of all, it's Warwick Davis. Warwick Davis is a damn treasure. And I will not put up with any Warwick Davis slander on this program. We will protect him with our lives, or at least with your life.
Well, forget about protecting him. He does an amazing job in this film. You don't need to protect him. He does.
He is having the time of his life, and he has said over and over again that Leprechaun is one of his favorite, maybe not like quality movies, but he said it's the best time he's ever had making a movie before. And you can tell. You can tell. Yeah. He's just radiating joy. And you know, why not? Why not? Because I don't know if he's ever, aside from Willow, I don't know if he's ever like been the leading man in a movie before.
Yeah.
And this is something so totally different from anything that he's ever done before. He gets to play basically a slasher killer. And for a little person, that's got to be something unique. And I don't know. I enjoy just the waves of joy that are just washing off of him in this movie. I'll just go ahead and tell you, whenever I watched this movie first, it was not long after it came out on video. Because I was at an age where we were renting every single horror movie we saw. We saw this one in the store. We thought, this will be funny. Let's watch it. And, you know, I'm going to tell you right now, it is not great. It is not a terrific movie, but it is fun and it's silly and it's goofy. And I did enjoy that. I enjoy the goofiness of this movie. And Leprechaun has got a huge cult following in the United States. Whenever I was teaching school at the inner city, all of the kids there were all about the Leprechaun. You know, have you seen Leprechaun? Have you seen Leprechaun 2? Have you seen Leprechaun 3? I had not at that point, but by gosh, I watched them all after that. And I'm just like, yeah, you know what? I can see why people like this guy. So he's kind of interwoven into my life. And it was fun to revisit this delightful little scamp.
You know what the Leprechaun has? Riz. That's what he's got. I mean, charisma is a big thing.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
Riz.
I thought it was psychopathy.
It's no, it's really his performance. You're right. He enjoyed delivering those lines. And it's a real performance. Don't like question it any other way, because you know how many horror slasher films have we seen previously that really dies at the, pardon the pun, at the feet of the killer because they don't have it. I mean, in our head, we could probably think about 4 or 5 main characters that are embedded in our brain, and every one of them has some sort of charisma.
I will say that Nightmare on Elm Street would have died with part 4 had it not been for the charisma of Robert Englund.
100%.
So I get what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And but the film, besides that performance, because his performance holds this film up, in my opinion, to raise it from what would be really at the bottom of the video shelf, at the bottom of the Walmart bucket discount bin, is his performance. Because the rest of it, Plot wise, it's stupid. Like it really is, and like the horror films that they make stupid choices. You know what I mean? I'm screaming at television for about half an hour, going, "You little brat! Why aren't you saying, hey, I found this pot of gold. This might be the reason." Like, he doesn't say it right to the end, which drove me nuts.
I'm gonna say, as I was watching this, I made a realization, and I have to voice it now before I forget. Leprechaun is one deleted gore scene and one F-bomb, just taking those out of the movie, away from being a Disney Channel original film for children.
It's definitely got Goosebump vibes. You could definitely see it's like a Goosebumps kind of style thing.
Well, yeah, it's like Halloween Town, except it's Irish.
Don't take away the gore, and don't take away the line, because that line is a good line. All right, and she delivers it well. The second person I was going to give kudos to this was Jennifer Aniston. You could see the beginnings of the talent, because it's her first film. I'm not saying it's a great performance, but for a first performance, again, she's got charisma too. Like, whether you love or hate her, she does, and she's really effective in this movie.
I remember reading a bit about Leprechaun before I watched it, that Jennifer Aniston kind of ignored this movie. Anytime that she gave out like her resume or something, this movie was always left off of it. And Warwick Davis just kind of was like, well, that's really, I'm disappointed in that, because I had a good time doing this movie. I thought she had a good time doing this movie. And Jennifer actually ended up apologizing, saying, you know what, I did have a good time doing this movie. I should be proud of it. And you know what? They should. They should, because both of them are bright spots.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it's also sprinkled through this film is a lot of familiar actors. The guy that plays that's a special needs guy, I suppose. He's a character actor I've seen in tons of movies. Even the kid, and I've been racking my brain where I've seen that kid before, but I've seen that kid in a bunch of stuff too. And obviously the hunky lead. The hunky lead's familiar too. So they are people that were known in the industry, even though I can't name them off by heart right now. And honestly, that kind of works, I tell you what I love.
I'll stop you for just a second, because the child actor is Robert High Gorman, and you may remember him from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Of course, that's exactly where I know him from.
And the gentleman who played Ozzy is Mark Holton, and you will remember him from such classics as Teen Wolf and my personal favorite, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Yes,
Pee-wee.
Absolutely.
I'm not a huge fan of his role in this movie, to be perfectly honest. I think it's a bit cringe sometimes.
Yeah.
But I will say, as Robert Downey Jr. so eloquently put it once, he didn't go full you-know-what. So that keeps it from being offensive. A little cringe, but offensive, and it is not Mark Holton's fault at all. It's the part he was given. There was not a lot he could do with it, and he did his best.
Yeah.
He did his best.
Look, I think
I ain't gonna hate him for that.
I think there's a lot of good stuff to say about this movie, but I think it does fall down in the sense that I feel the second and half of the third act is really rinse and repeat. We're just getting chased around by the leprechaun at this point. There's nothing really kind of moving the plot forward. I feel like we're in stasis there. And I think that's probably the weakest point of the film for me, is that side of it. But the opening shot got me immediately. I'm like, as soon as I saw the opening shot of this film, which is a stairway, and him going down the stairs and playing with his gold, and I'm like, oh, straight away I said, this thing's got production value. That's a great looking shot. It's a great introduction to our character. And I was into it for a while. We were in with Jennifer Aniston, but I kind of zoned out there for a little bit. But then when it came back, I certainly love the scene with the bear trap outside when they first get the full reveal of him. That's a fun scene. Fun scene with the cop as well. There's the eyeball. Like, there's lots of nice little highlights. I kind of wish, though, they went more gory.
See, I wouldn't have mind them gone more gory. I would have liked them to amp up the comedy quite a bit too, because let's face it, this is a horror comedy. This was never meant to be taken seriously. If it was meant to be
No.
taken seriously, they would have never shown the leprechaun from the very beginning. They would have kept his face hidden. There would have been more, things like that. But no, they knew what they were from the very beginning, and that's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad they knew what they were. Completely agree, though. Between the second and third acts, where it's just the leprechaun chasing them and them running, gets very monotonous and forgettable.
That's
But
where it slows
yeah,
down. But there is lots of good stuff in regards to. I can see what you're saying. It's a comedy. I did not laugh once, but I sensed it was
not even
Yeah.
once.
No, not really. I didn't really.
Not even just a little bit.
To me, it's like sometimes watching a sitcom and you know it's funny and you know the jokes are landing, but you're not actually laughing. It didn't mean it was horrible. It's just it wasn't like I wasn't out there laughing at it.
I don't believe you.
No, absolutely, 100%. I did not think it was hilarious, but I did appreciate what it was trying to do. And again, I mean, the only reason this film works really to me, if you take him out of that role, Warwick out of that role, this film probably wouldn't have seen the light of day. It would have been lost to time in some warehouse somewhere. Because that's that good a performance, because it's funny to see these films when they're taking old mythological characters. And I think about even what they're doing with Mickey Mouse now, and they're doing with Popeye and Winnie the Pooh, where as a kid, I never thought of the leprechaun as evil, right? I had no concept that the leprechaun is evil. So to take these beloved mythological characters and make them evil killers, there's a charm to it, for sure. I mean, I think they've done it better than anyone else has so far. But yeah, there you go, right? It's an interesting approach to make a horror film, but I think it works on that. Because that, Jase, I mean, like, if you're not bought in within 30 seconds of this film, if you're not going with it, turn it off, because you've got to just go with it from the beginning.
You know what? Seriously reevaluate your life by that point. If you have not recognized this for the goofball horror comedy that it is. I mean, listen to some of these sequels. So we have Leprechaun 1, 2, and 3, and then Leprechaun 4 in space, Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun Back to the Hood. They did a sequel inside of a sequel. I think that's amazing. And apparently there's a remake that I did not know anything about called Leprechaun Origins. Does this have Warwick in it? If it doesn't have Warwick in it, I'm not even going to try. Let's see.
Do they all have besides that one?
It does not have Warwick in it. No,
Well,
I'm out. I'm out. Sorry, no.
But is Warwick in every other sequel?
He is, yes. He is in all the other ones.
I did not know that about him. I did not know that he had. Hey, why not? If the cash is coming in, you take the role, right? And he is so good in it. I was thinking he would have been about in his mid-20s at the time he did this. Being early 90s, he would have been.
I will have to check that. I mean, what?
But I reckon I'm pretty right there. So he's certainly in because he's got a lot to do, eh?
Oh, he's got a ton to do. Yeah.
So much physical activity and physical comedy that he has to do in this film is most normal actors wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, he's great,
Okay, so Warwick Davis was born in 1970.
Yeah, so he would have been totally 23.
Yeah, because he was itty bitty whenever he did Return of the Jedi, because Carrie Fisher was like super protective of him because he was like 9.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, mate, he would have had to been that fit. I mean, like, I felt tired for him in this film at points.
I tell you what, though, I don't know if it's just the way Warwick Davis is built or if it was a conscious choice, but something about them itty bitty thin legs,
bow-legged,
bulky body, just something about that just gives him this otherworldly, almost like the uncanny valley as far as he is. And again, if that is the way Warwick Davis is built, I am not downing the man at all. I'm not going to do that one bit. I'm just saying, I think that Warwick made the conscious choice to use his body proportions in the way that he did, and it's
Yeah,
fantastic. It
magic.
honestly, it's a fantastic choice.
Well, if you think about it, you can't have everyone else playing that role because he physically embodies that character, a la like Robert Englund playing Freddy. We noticed that with the remake, that even, so much that Robert Englund did physically in that role to be that kind of character. Yeah, man. And he had still, like I said, a lot of stuff in this, I mean, if it isn't like riding a tricycle, it's getting shot by a squid, like a shotgun. And that wasn't a dummy flying back in the bush. They had Warwick on a wire, flinging him back into that bush. So no,
He's a
kudos
very
for
committed performer, super committed.
that.
I applaud Warwick Davis. I really do. People are going to be watching this thinking that I'm making fun of Warwick Davis. I'm really not.
No,
I
you're
think
not.
he's a fantastic actor, and if you've ever seen interviews with him, I think he's a fantastic human being.
Yeah, absolutely, without question. And Ricky Gervais had that show has done work with him and knows how much of a brilliant comedian he is. He's genuinely a hilarious person. Yeah, I will say, going back to the funny, there is actually one moment that I thought was pretty clever and humorous. The concept of him having to shine shoes was a great idea. Like, he can't
Like Dracula
stop.
having to count things.
Yeah, exactly. It's compulsive. He can't not do it. And I thought that was kind of amusing,
Yeah, just throw shoes at him. You may not get away, but at least all your shoes are going to be clean.
The thing is, I'm going to ask this question. If, say, minute 25 of this movie, the kid goes, you know what? I got the gold over here. Here you go. Here's the gold. Does this Leprechaun still kill people anyway? Or does he walk away if you found the gold, he goes, where's my gold? And we're like, I can't do accents, obviously.
Where's my gold?
Yeah, there you go. And he hands it back.
Oh, I hope Sean Farrick
does he walk away?
He's going to have words for me.
Does he walk away, though? Does he?
I think he does.
Yeah,
I think he does, because I think he was prepared to walk away when Jennifer Aniston gave him all of his gold until he realized, oh, there's one missing.
Yeah.
And it's that compulsion of his that he's got to get it back. And I also got to say, having Ozzy accidentally swallow a coin, that was a brilliant piece of storytelling.
I was waiting for that moment because it was set up so easily. He eats the coin like that little green mofo is going to get that coin back one way or another.
It's going to be a saw situation, except the person doing the sawing is going to be enjoying it.
I do like the pogo stick death. The deaths are kind of fun in this too. God. And you're always looking for fresh deaths.
I was laughing out loud during the pogo stick murder because it was so goofy. I can't believe you didn't laugh at that because it is so out of left field.
Like I said, I recognized it was funny. I just wasn't laughing at the time. I was amused by it. That's probably a better way I was very amused by the idea.
Yes, I was not laughing. I was just amused. It was so amusing, so droll.
It's true. I don't know how else I had to say. Like I said, it's like watching a sitcom. And you go, yeah, that's funny, but I ain't laughing. But what more can I say? For a film that was made for $900,000, Jason, that's how much money they had. And when I read that, after I watched the film, I went, well, it's already gone up a level in my head, just respect-wise, because that looks like a lot more than $900,000 if you combine. I mean, I can see where you basically have one set in the Southern Californian hills. Like the location they're at, they shot every 80s TV show filmed in LA in that back lot. Like it's so Southern California.
Yeah. I liked the kind of meta joke at the very beginning where this looks like New Mexico. No, this is South Dakota. So they're just like, we know you've seen the set before. Shut up.
Yeah, you're saying. But so they kept that contained financially, but you include everything else in this production and the effects and the makeup. $900,000, man. Every penny. Not that they exist anymore. every penny is on the screen, Jase. So it's very impressive. So for $900,000, this thing goes ahead and makes $8.5 million. Right? That's a hit.
That's a lot of the balloons, my friend.
That's a bona fide hit. You've got yourself a hit. And you can understand why they dropped the second one a year later. But yeah, this thing obviously was well loved, but you feel like it really built up a giant cult following. I mean, clearly it had to. You get 8, 9 films out of it.
Oh, most definitely. Like I said, my students, whenever I taught in Dallas, were crazy about this movie. They were crazy about the Leprechaun movies, and they talked about the Leprechaun movies all the time. And I do have to say they were some inner city students, so I think it was the Leprechaun in the Hood movies that kind of did it for them, because they saw an environment that they were used to. They saw people that looked like them,
urban environment,
and they were all fighting a tiny leprechaun. And who would not love something like that? So their joy in that movie really stoked my joy in these movies as well. So I'm right there with them. They are stupid, but they are delightful.
Well, I've not seen any of them, so the idea of In the Hood sounds fun. So did the one in space, because why not? You got to go in space at some point.
Maybe something for Talking Tubi if they're on that service. I'm just saying.
No, you know what is on that service? The one that you mentioned without Warwick. Leprechaun Origins is the only version.
I'm kind of curious in a very weird way. I'm curious to see, because I just think it's going to be bad. I could be wrong, but I think it is.
Yeah, don't. I respect the man too much, because it is really, really good performance. But you know what? For it, obviously, I don't know what the sequels are like. Do you have any comment on the quality? Do they keep it the same, Jase? Do they get better? Do they get worse? What's the deal?
They get more ridiculous. I think that they lean more into the comedy aspect of it. They get a little bit more gory, a little bit more stupid. And like I said, they're just like, oh, it's stupid. It's stupid on that side of the road. Oh no, what are we doing? I enjoy that, though. I enjoy that it embraces what it is, because it has nothing to be ashamed of. And embrace that goofiness. You're a movie about a killer leprechaun.
Oh yeah, I agree. Give it a bit old, wink and a nod, and yeah, here we go. So, fun for what it is. Like I said, I wasn't laughing out loud, but maybe it's one of these films. Yeah, but maybe it's one of these films in rewatch, because I know what the film is, that I will find it more, because that happens sometimes. I'd say that for the first, and a bit of a teaser here. At some point this year, we're going to be talking about. We may or may not, can neither confirm or deny, be talking about a film called Austin Powers. Now, the first Austin Powers film, when I first saw that, did not laugh. Did not laugh. Then I watched it a second time. It was hilarious, and I never stopped watching that film for a while. So,
I used to write movie reviews on a website many, many years ago, and I was going through my old reviews, and I found one for Austin Powers International Man of Mystery. And you want to know what I said? This was unfunny and stupid. I didn't like it. Now it's one of my favorite movies. So
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes you don't warm up to something right away. You don't recognize the brilliance. So yeah.
This is the type of horror film you throw at a bunch of 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds. Hey, you want to watch something? Watch this. And that's a compliment, because I believe my film tastes were completely shaped in my adolescence. Within that age period, I reckon from about 9 till about 16, I think that absolutely formed what I love about movies and things like that. And that's a compliment for the film. I would suggest this to a bunch of kids to watch it, because you're going to have a great time. And yeah, that were my thoughts on it, Jase.
Okay. It's a classic. I'm just going to say it. It's a silly, stupid, funny classic, and you either love it or you hate it. You're not wrong in any situation. I personally love it for what it is, the big, stupid, dorky, dumb movie that it embraces itself as, and that Warwick Davis enjoyed shooting, because you can definitely see that joy on the screen. So if you love big, stupid, funny, dumb, gory, silly horror movies, definitely give The Leprechaun a look. What did this say this day?
I got to say, your comment on them being goofier and they lean more into the comedy is the right instinct to go, in my opinion, just from this perspective, and makes me want to actually watch the sequels more, for sure.
Maybe we will revisit them one day.
Maybe it won't be over in the Leprechaun universe for us.
Maybe we will. Maybe that is another movie series we may look at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not until 2026 though, because our schedule is full.
We are got a locked schedule at the moment.
Our schedule be
not
full.
that locked though, Jason. Let's clarify.
That is true.
Can be swapped out, and how would we swap out an episode? What would cause us to do that, Jason?
Money.
Money.
And if you would like to know how you may give us money, please visit the video description below, where you will find a link to our Patreon, where you can pledge as little as $5 a month. And with that $5 a month, baby, we will put on a dog mask and we can wear leashes, and we will do what you want, Daddy. Anything you want, within reason, of course. And by that we mean you can tell us what movies you want us to take a look at. Do you have a film that you really enjoy that you think we would enjoy, or do you have a film that you really hate that you think would torture us? Let us know. We've already done Stargate. Our friend James wanted us to do Stargate because this guy said mean things about it. And you want to know something that's funny? We both ended up hating it. John was a good sport about it. He was just like, yeah, you guys had some good points. You're both idiots, but you had some good points. And I do not deny we are both idiots. That is true.
Well, guys, we'll be back on our next episode of the VHS Vault. We're back in the DC universe because we're talking about Superman 4.
This is the one they've got to get right because they've had 3 tries so far. The 4th time has got to be the good one.
Well, it's in safe hands with the Canon films. But we'll check that out.
Those are the people behind Total Recall, right? They did great. It's fine. It's fine.
No, you're thinking. No, you are right. Yes, you are right. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you next time, guys, on the VHS Vault.
I got to ask you something before we leave, though. Okay. I was looking at the schedule. Right after Superman 4, you requested a movie called Chopper, which I have to say, I'm pretty sure you say it Chopper, but I know nothing about this film. I know nothing about this film. So, in 3 words or less, tell me what I should be looking forward to.
Horrific violence comedy.
Okay, I'm in. Chopper.
Stars Eric Bana. It's his star-making role. It's his star-making role. Yeah. And it's based on a true story. So this is what's insane about it. That character is, and you won't believe it, and we'll talk about it then, but that guy really existed. So it's a phenomenal, very Australian movie. So if you guys, I will even recommend at this early stage, if you haven't seen Chopper, get on it now. Because I'm telling you, once you've seen it, that you're going to have a lot to talk about with it. So I'm looking forward to that in a couple of weeks.
It's so funny. You said, yeah, this is an Australian movie. It's full of violence. It's crazy. Yeah. And it's a true story. Don't you find that surprising? Not really, no. No, I find it does not surprise me that it's a true
Australian
story.
Culture, it's one of those movies that's highly quotable. Like everybody's seen it multiple times, and it's things that we quote to each other based off that. So it's like this film may be kind of a cultish in America. Chopper is definitely probably beyond cult in Australia. It's kind of held up as like it's our newest Crocodile Dundee is how we felt about it for many years.
Okay, well, I look forward to that because you do know that I love me some Paul Hogan.
There you go. He's not in that film. All right, guys, we'll see you next time for Superman 4: The Quest for Peace on the VHS Vault.